Hey chaps, welcome back to part 6. I think that's how you do 6. Don't really know, not been good at counting. So we're just tackling the rebuild of the back end. Yesterday I didn't film because I just wanted to do some work and not have to worry about trying to film everything. So as I was doing some, I was repaired it, I went, yeah, and then I found another spot, I was like, yeah. So like, I did that back section and then I was grinding it, and then the grinder hit a certain spot in the bottom and I went, hello, what's all this then? And I dug at that spot and turned out to be a massive patch of rust. I was like, well, it wasn't actually rust, it had yet to break through, but the accidental whipping it with the sander managed to just skim it enough that the rust showed through. I was like, so it was a happy accident basically. I just found more rust by sheer accident, which is quite good really, because I was able to knock it out. But that's the other thing I worry about. When restoring cars, you can only fix what you can see. You can't fix what's still coming. So unless you really strip them down, take roof skins off, quarter panels off, everything, and bare the whole body shell down to nothing, you will not get every piece of rust. If you're leaving stuff on, you're guaranteed to get more. It just happens, it's life. You can slow it down, you can not drive your car in the rain and do things, but you can only fix what you can see, and that doesn't mean there's not more coming. Especially when you start using it again. Even my XB, I've noticed that because I've been driving that quite a bit, it's starting to get some fresh rust in areas where it wasn't rusty when I picked it up, because it sat for ages. Now it's getting wet and moisture and being used, it's starting to rust a bit more. So luck of the draw. But that car's, I'm not worried about that car anytime soon. So after this wonderful intro, I will show you what we've got up to. So what I was talking about is I did that patch in there, which I didn't go into too much effort showing it. It was literally just a flat piece of steel. I mean, you couldn't get more simpler if you tried, just had to cut it the right shape. But that bit down there, the edge of the sander had just cut it enough that it skimmed it, and there was a big lump of rust under it. So I ended up having to dig that out, grind it out. It started just as a tiny speck and it ended up being that big. It was quite incredible really, but that's all ground out. Lovely. I mean, ultimately you'll never see this because it's getting covered with that filler panel. But yeah, so I've got to grind that down in a jiffy, and I think some of these have been getting blasted. This is the next one. So this is going to be a piece that goes in there, and this is fairly simple. It's also going to be a flat piece. All the lumpy bits are actually really good, so we can just add in a flat piece in there, and that's what we're going to tackle next, and then put that back down in there. Hope you enjoy. So we've finished that bit, that's all ready. And we're on to this bit. We've just trimmed out all the garbage, trimmed up another piece that fits in that sort of conveniently flat area. Just welding it together. Pull those, I'll pull that together when it's going in, and then that can go in here. And we will catch up once I've started tacking that in. Right, so a bit of progress has been made. This piece is now welded in and looking lovely. I got the old piece and drew where all the plug weld holes were, and then I've added a couple more just to make myself feel a little bit better. So that's all welded in, copper sprayed behind. I've just got to grind down some of these ones through here, these guys here, and I'll just leave the top on those ones there. Just adds a bit of extra strength. You don't have to grind them down, especially in areas that, well, one, I probably won't be able to get to with a sander, not easily, and two, no one in their right mind is ever going to look there. I just realised that I've got to actually put 2 welds from the inside of the boot going this way onto here, because I remember there was 2 lumps there and there, so I've got to make sure I do them, and then we can put this piece back in, which didn't need any repairs. This is just the catch, and it went through those 4 plug weld holes. So all we're going to do is quite literally line them back up where they were, and that'll go back in. That wasn't actually welded to here, so this was just in there like so. So all we're going to do is clean this up, and then put this in, and then we can start putting what I believe is the skin that goes over the top of here, and then we can put the rest on. It's just a long process. So far we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rust repairs already in this one area. Quite incredible, really. But she's coming back. So we're at 4. I reckon once this goes in, we'll have 5 and 6 repairs, and depending if there's any holes in here when I clean this up, we might end up having had done 7 rust repairs in this one spot to get it all done. Quite incredible, really. Absolutely incredible. So once I've done a little bit more, I will catch up. Righty chaps, chaparoos. What we've done is ground down the welds, bit of etch primer, and while I had a really good access to here, because as soon as this panel goes in, bye bye to the access. I've actually seam sealed in here. I mean, obviously bare metaled, etch primed, copper sprayed under where the joins are, obviously, etch primed, seam sealed, and then I've stone guarded in here a little bit. I just want this area to be sealed up perfectly, because once I finish welding this stuff in, you will not be able to get in this hole ever again. Not easily. I mean, you've got like that access hole and that access hole, but you can't do much with them. So while there was incredibly good access, I've sealed them up, made sure there was no rust in there, and now we could put all the other pieces in, knowing that that's all beautiful right down at the bottom. So coming along nicely. I've just cleaned this up so this can go in there basically. So that's actually why I did that, because you weld that back in, you ain't getting your hand in there ever again, are you? So that's pretty much what the issue is. So I figured make the most of while you got an access hole. A bit like when I did that Commodore, when I had the piece out, I actually fixed the boot floor while I had incredibly good access. It's one of those things you gotta go, maybe I should do this before I put this next piece in. While you can make your life a lot easier. So etched, sealed, etched, seam sealed, and then stone guarded. And to the people worrying about etch primer, don't worry about etch primer. They say acid etch, and I was watching Don's Tricks video where they were talking about etch primer, people being worried about the acid in it, because you know, acid. That's what it uses to bond itself to the steel. You really should have etch primer going on bare steel, because that's how it chemically eats its way into the thing, so it's actually got a really good bond. And then usually you just very lightly scotch over the top of it and put whatever on top. But etch primer should always be put on bare steel. Hopefully helpful hint for anyone. So yeah, that's what etch primer does. That's why it's the bottom primer. It's like an E-coat or something like that. It's very similar. But yes, that's what we've done. That's what we're going to weld in, and then we will carry on. Right, so I'm going to wrap up the video here, and the next one you'll see the rest of it go back together, and we'll round out that corner. So we need to actually rust repair this piece a bit. I've just I have an ant running on me, excuse me, get off, shoo! Right, so we've got to do some rust repairs to this piece before we can put that in. But this piece should, if we pick it up in the right way, it's still slightly wet with primer, but this piece, if that slips in there, go, shoo, that bit goes in there, and then we have that piece that goes over the top of that, and then that piece that goes over the top of that, and we'll probably have to do a couple of minor rust repairs here. So we've still got 2 repairs on this, a repair on that, and a repair on that. So we've still got 3 more repairs to go in this area before we are finished. So this has been a horrendously time consuming repair section, just because of how many layers are in this area, and every single one of them was rusted out. So, and you not only do you have to try and get it apart, you've got to get it apart without wrecking the pieces. I mean, you tweak them slightly, but you can straighten them up. You've got to get them out without wrecking them, and then you've got to get all the way down to the bottom layer and then rebuild that one and work your way up. So I'd say we're about yeah, I'd say we're probably halfway through this repair now, or at least halfway through the return. Definitely well over the halfway point, but there's not that much. It's just repair, weld in, grind down, repair, weld in, grind down, repair, weld in, grind down, and then we can say goodbye to that section, and then we can move across to this section and do it all over again. It's actually looking pretty good, I reckon. Bit of all right, I reckon. But that'll do for this video. Might be a bit long, might be a bit short, don't really know. But that's welded back in. It never was welded through here to this. It was only ever it's only ever welded to here. So I just put it back on its original holes, and that's how it was. And it actually, you put that in the right way, actually fits really well. So that's where we're going to leave it. Stay tuned for the next one.